Welcome to Lacrosse Classified, your go-to source for all things NLL and box lacrosse. We will bring you the biggest names and best storylines in the world every single week. So settle down and listen up. It's time for Lax Class.
What's up, lacrosse fans, classmates? Welcome back to Lacrosse Classified, Lax Class for short. Class is now in session. 366 is the episode you are about to listen to. And the voices you will listen to while you listen to episode 366. Jake Elliott, Lucas Archer with you. Man, oh man, we did it. We did it. We're into game week officially here as the National Lacrosse League regular season will begin on Friday. It almost seems a little surreal to me. Like, I still hasn't quite sunk in. I'm heading to Rogers Arena this Saturday with a suit and tie on, up to the gondola, and little National Lacrosse League action this weekend. I cannot believe it. So here we are. Week one is upon us, and we still haven't got through our season previews, which we are going to wrap up in the nick of time here this week as our final two teams. We're going to check them off the list. Head coach, saving the best for last, one might say. Head coach and general manager of the Las Vegas Desert Dogs, Shawn Williams, will join us in quarter number 2. Head coach and general manager of the Vancouver Warriors, Curt Malawsky, will join us in quarter number 3. We will have a Lax Class lock of the week and make our picks in week 1 of who you got in quarter number 4. Man, am I excited. What else? We got our Goalie Factory Goalie of the Week coming up here, and even a final big focus of the season. Well, maybe not. We're kind of into the new season. It's going to be a big focus. That's the point I'm making right now. We're going to have a big focus in quarter number 1 as well. Jake Elliott, Lucas Archer, Largy, welcome back. And how's it going, dude? I know you bought yourself a new suit for Friday night at the Oshawa Firewolves game. You did a little suit shopping. What else? You're watching F1. You watched some NLL preseason. What's going on?
Hey, man. What's going on? You rattled off everything except NLL preseason in person. Catching some Saturday night action out at Brampton Memorial Arena, Ottawa taking on Rochester. And I got to say, I got to watch the ex-NFL player Casey Rogers in a lacrosse game.
Yeah,
man, oh man, is he ever a menace.
Really? Can he play?
Yeah, he did. Yep. So
no, like, can he play though? Like, is he?
Oh, can he play? Sort of. He's got half decent hands for a defender. Can't really shoot the ball. Quick though. So if you ever need that in transition, again, Brampton's not the largest arena, so you take 6 steps and you're across center. But
pretty good scrap there. Grennan and who's
Begley? Cole Begley. Yeah, it was pretty much a case of David versus Goliath there. 6'2" Begley against 5'8" Grennan. So that was something.
He landed a couple in there. We saw a couple scraps in San Diego and Las Vegas go down. Well, we saw a heavyweight tilt in Langley that had the potential to be like one of the best, but then a whole lot of rabbit punches, some big misses with some haymakers, a little wrestling in there, and no real scoring blows between Matt Beers and Warren Jeffrey, but everybody kind of perked up when they saw those two square off at center.
Yeah, they did, and I was kind of the same way. I'm like, oh, they're going to go. Okay. So we had that.
On his birthday for Beers, too. Scrapping on his birthday. That could have
been something.
Kids in the crowd. Wife was there.
There you go, Beersy. But you're putting on a show for the young fans out there in BC. But no, it was a good weekend for me. You're right. Did a little suit shopping. That should be all set for Friday. Yeah, it was a fun weekend.
What's your, when you're there on Friday night working for the Oshawa Firewolves, what is going to be your nightly routine for game night? What's that going to entail? What's it going to look like?
Might involve me handling the lineups, going to each bench, make sure everything is a-okay, scratches are proper, starting goalies, all of that, run them up to the press box. And I've yet to meet Dan Malta and Scott Arnold, but I will this Friday night. They will be in attendance watching. They're obviously not calling the game, unfortunately, but they will be there watching, so I'll get to meet them. And then I will be handling, writing the team's game recap stories throughout the game, watching it, and then post-game interviewing head coach Glenn Clark and at least one, if not two players, along with the Firewolves, get their thoughts. That's what I'm doing during the game. And then if there's anything pregame, aside from the lineups, whatever my supervisor has in store for me, it's game one. It's day one for this new franchise in Oshawa, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different moving parts. We are sold out officially.
I
That is
saw that.
confirmed.
I even saw Joey Nieuwendyk throw out a little.
Yes, yeah, I was
little
just
pregame
about to
message.
say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. Old Joe Nieuwendyk, he will be in attendance. I've been told that, so that'll be fun to see some of the old school NLL players from the old school lacrosse players from the Durham region give back, and it'll be fun to see all of them come out. I'm not sure what the pregame ceremony is that the Wolves have in store, but I've been told it's going to be a good one. And of course, they're taking on the Rock, so it's going to be a fun one, and I'm personally looking forward to it. I know it's going to be a good game, and me personally, I've yet to see CJ Curse play in person, so I'll get to see that for the first time on Friday.
Well, he was in action on NLL Plus in Toronto as well as the Rock. What, they beat the Wings by 4, I think, in the end there.
4 or 5, something like that.
Yeah, Toronto with a pretty successful preseason. Saskatchewan and Calgary got after it. Georgia and Buffalo, I think, squared off. Rochester was involved as well with Ottawa. So pretty much everybody in action, and now the bullets start to fly for real come Friday night. Friday, I did absolutely nothing. The back, Lucas, is still giving old Jumbo some issues here. I'm getting better, but still nowhere near where I need to be. So not a whole lot accomplished on Friday. Kind of gutted it out on Saturday out there at the field house. Not feeling so great, but called that one up there in the Crow's Nest. And then yesterday, doubleheader semifinal Sunday, which because of the Vancouver Whitecaps, Lucas, I don't know if you saw this or not, but my Vancouver Whitecaps, who I have been a fan of since we're talking like the 80s here, back in the old days with Tino Lettieri and Peter Beersley and Carl Valentine, back in the old NASL days. Well, Vancouver has been playing some pretty good soccer as of late. They're into the second round. Well, they're into the third round now, as 54,000 at BC Place to watch the Whitecaps take on LAFC. Went down to 9 men in that game, gave up a 2-0 lead. I don't know, like 3-4 posts in extra time for LA. Vancouver, they hang on, go to a penalty kick situation, win it, which means why I'm telling you all this is because I called some football yesterday at BC Place. A little different in there than the 54,000 that were there for the Whitecaps. I'll tell you that for high school football. But because the Whitecaps won, now normally the championship Saturday would have been this Saturday. The Warriors are playing on Saturday. Wouldn't have been able to do it, but because the Whitecaps won, they bump high school football to the Sunday. So now I'm going to be downtown on back-to-back days, and I do, after all, get to call some championship high school football. So I'm pumped.
I bet. Sounds like it's going to be a fun time. Are they two good schools, or is this kind of bottom? Is this kind of
color? Soccer is the game. Yeah, they are. WJ Mowat, the Hawks, they've been the number one team all year long, and they're going to take on Lord Tweedsmuir, the Panthers, who knocked off the 3-time defending champion Vancouver College Fighting Irish last night in a bit of an upset. So Hawks versus Panthers for the big championship next Sunday.
If I had to go back to our Who You Got picks last year, and for 1 week I just looked at the teams and decided who could win in a fight, I'm going to do the same for the football one. A Hawk versus a Panther. Who could win in a fight? I'll take the Hawks.
You're going to take the Hawks. Okay, well, you're probably right. They've been the number one team. They're probably going to win, but we'll see. Oh, the other thing that we should probably talk about off the top of the show here, Lucas, is some major news from kind of the summer loops in box lacrosse. I know we're about to turn our attention to the National Lacrosse League, but this fairly significant news here, as Junior A in both Alberta or the Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League and the Ontario Junior A Lacrosse League are taking a big step forward, sort of. I will say for the Rocky Mountain League, the Winnipeg Blizzard have been added to the Rocky Mountain Junior Lacrosse League. This is great. I don't know exactly how the logistics are going to work as far as the travel between Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, and Alberta goes. Like, I think there's some financial things that are going to need to be worked out there if they haven't been already. But I love the addition of Winnipeg. You know, there's a market that is starting to blossom. We see a couple of guys from that province in the NLL now, and I think the numbers have been good. The organization, as far as the Blizzard goes, has been a real strong program, being at Founders and what have you over the last several years. And that league could use another team. So I love the move there from the RML. I'd look for a more official press release that's going to come out here pretty quick, according to Dream Bat. So look forward to that. And then, you know, just a day or 2 days after that news was announced, the news of Elora being added to Junior A in Ontario, which I think is great. I mean, this has been a powerhouse Junior B team for a lot of years and are ready to make the jump into Junior A. I think the minor organization registration supports that. What I also think is that the minor registration supports having a team in Nepean. I think it also supports having a team in Kahnawake. Two other places there down in the Ottawa region that have been trying to get Junior A acceptance for quite some time. I know, like, Nepean for sure. I think this is just a recent bid here for Kahnawake, but I don't understand how you select Elora, great, and then say no to Nepean and Kahnawake. Like, why are we not going forward with all of it? There has to be reasons. I don't know what those reasons are.
Yeah, neither do I. I'll jump back to the first thing that you said in terms of Winnipeg and the Rocky Mountain League. Great to see it. I think there's a lot of, good things that come out of it. You said it. Winnipeg's a growing market. We are seeing multiple high caliber players come out of Manitoba, both on the men's and women's side. So to see them make the jump up to Junior A is something that's going to be really great for not only the city of Winnipeg, but for the province of Manitoba and lacrosse in that province as well. Coming to the OJLL in Ontario, it's tough. You're right. You have Elora, you have their bid be accepted, and then out east. So it is tough when you have the likes of Nepean and Kahnawake. Nepean's put in a bid, I think, the last 3 or 4 years. Kahnawake just this year, and it doesn't go through all the way. I think it is unfortunate, especially when in the past you had a team out there for almost 15 years, Jake. You had Akwesasne as a Junior A center, and they actually held their own in that league. So, them going back to Junior B and then no teams out that way in the Ottawa region and even into Quebec and on the reserves, it's hard. And for a lot of those players, that's why they don't play Junior A lacrosse. They just want to stay home, and I can't really blame them. They just want to stick around, play with their buddies, and go win at the Junior B level, which I get. And then there are some that, they want to play Junior A and they'll leave to come to the GTHA. But it's tough when you're living 4 or 5 hours away and you don't go home a lot.
I'm assuming that's part of the reason, that teams don't want to travel that far to go play those games down in Nepean or Kahnawake either, right? But it's the same for them. They have to go the other way and do it the other way. And
but they do it for Junior B, which is a little bit of a head scratcher. Like, a perfect example are the Orangeville Northmen. They went back to the West Division this year, so they have to do the trip out to Windsor and Wallaceburg and Sarnia and all of that. That's a 4-hour bus ride just one way. So it's tough when there are Junior A centers that don't want to do it, but Junior B has been doing it for years.
I just think the numbers are there to support doing it. And my comment to the Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League was, like, grow the game and the game will grow. And I don't think accepting one team and denying another or denying 2 others is doing that. And I would like to know more of the reasons why they came to this decision, because I know there's a lot of people asking those questions. And with that being said, I would really like to, and I don't know if they can answer it, but I've been chatting with Terry Rayner a little bit over the last few weeks, and I'd like to get the new executive director of Lacrosse Canada on and kind of have that discussion with him, because maybe he's got a little more insight to it. So stay tuned. Well, congratulations to Elora for that, and to the Winnipeg Blizzard being welcomed into Junior A. That is a positive, no question about that. We will turn our attention now, however, to the big focus.
Big focus.
Big focus.
Focus. Other than a big focus.
Focus.
Big focus.
All right, last big focus here, Lucas, brought to you by RyCor. Well, we brought the soundbite back last week for a Player of the Week for Dana Dobie, if you recall, but we'll be back in regular rotation from this point forward for the rest of the National Lacrosse League season. Players of the Week are coming up, but this week, big focus is brought to you by RyCor Construction, who serve the Lower Mainland for all your renovation needs, whether it's interior or exterior. They can get the job done. Not only that, but they're going to make it stand out. 20 years of experience in the construction industry, quality craftsmanship, exceptional client experience. It's all part of the package. RyCorConstruction.ca. Go see for yourself at RyCor Construction Inc. on their Instagram or Facebook pages. See the work for yourself. But you can trust this voice that's speaking to you right now. They're going to make it stand out for you at RyCor Construction. Standing out this week, Lucas, not every team has rolled out their official roster yet here as we record a day earlier than normal once again this week. We're recording here on Monday afternoon. The rosters are in. Whether they're all posted up yet is another thing, but I don't know, like the way I wish there was some, and not that I want everybody to kind of be the same and be cookie cutter here, but I think we need some like standards a little bit as far as your active roster and then your practice roster, guys, because a lot of teams are posting up just their active roster and not guys that maybe are going to start the year on the pup list or the holdout list or whatever the case is. So, they're throwing up to 21, which is great, but then who's on the practice roster? Who's on the injured list? Who's on the holdout list? Because fans are asking questions, and that tells me that that's not quite right, the right way to do it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people asking about Ryan Benish not being on the active roster for the Buffalo Bandits. They're carrying 4 goaltenders right now. Relax, Buffalo. Ryan Benish will be back with the Buffalo Bandits before too long. I think this is a bit of I don't even know how to say it, a roster loophole maybe, Lucas, how they're kind of manipulating things as far as timelines go in order to maybe put somebody here for a second so they can move somebody over there for a second so they can open up a room. Ryan Benish is going to be in Buffalo. We know that. So, but they don't know that. Anyways, final rosters are coming out, and I mean, out of the teams that you've seen so far, Lucas, did anybody really pop off the page as far as, he didn't make it? That's crazy.
No, I don't think there's any that made me do a double take per se and kind of make me think, oh, this guy's not on the roster. I don't think there are any rosters that
Darlinson, maybe one for me. Like, I was pretty impressed with that guy through the preseason, watching him in exhibition game. Like, man, is he fast? And maybe he ends up in the practice roster. I don't know, but I thought he was going to crack that roster.
Yeah, there was. Again, it's the case of, again, I don't want to, say too much because there are things that I know that I can't say, but I know that there's there's something going on there with Darlington in Toronto. I won't say much more on that. Something that surprised me, though, I will say, is both Brendan Bomberry and Bo Hunter are listed as defenders for the Halifax Thunderbirds. I thought they would have been put up on offense in the forward position, but again, what do I know? I'm not an NLO GM or a head coach, but seeing those two out the back door could be good, but I figured that they would be more upfront scoring goals, not so much defending.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that it matters what they're listed as out of the get-go, and I think the only time it really matters is when it comes down to awards where they get classified as far as what they're eligible to win. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. So keep posted to your favorite NLL team. Like they're starting to roll out here today. Looks like for Vancouver, Ryan Martell is going to start on the injured reserve list. Alex Stathakis is going to do the same. I believe Josh Carlson and Nathan Miller will be their practice roster guys. I saw they released Tyler Garrison earlier today. I'm not sure they're going to carry a third goaltender in Vancouver either. So we'll talk to Curt about this coming up, but I still feel like they're keeping a spot open for another right-handed offensive player. I just feel like there's a need there. They need depth there. They've kind of manipulated the roster to have that available to them. And I wonder, if somebody is going to get released from a certain team that they're just kind of waiting for that guy to come onto the market and then snatch him up. One guy that I looked at, another guy I should say, is Kean Moon from Georgia. Now, they released him from the active. I can't imagine after talking to John Arlotta here on the podcast and when we brought Kean Moon up, he was pretty high on this guy. So I don't know if he's just going to expose him or whether he's going to the practice roster again. We're probably going to get the updated email probably as soon as we stop recording on all the practice roster transactions that are going to happen here. But we haven't got that yet. But Kean, if he's available, a right-handed offensive player for some depth, that would probably be the guy I'd have my eye.
He's a quick forward. He's got a hell of a shot. You heard John Arlotta say it himself. We'll talk more when Shawn Williams comes on, Jake, but Vegas, they had a real interesting training camp in terms of their goaltender positions, and they released their roster not too long ago, and they released Alexi Bouquet, I should say. Got his name wrong.
Alexis.
I got that wrong twice. Alexis Bouquet. And they have Caleb Kahn on the roster, which I was pretty shocked to see.
Well, you shouldn't be shocked to see that, Lucas, because he was a first-round draft pick. And as we know in the National Lacrosse League, first-round draft picks make your team.
18
That's just
years
the way
of age, though, with the
I
goaltender
don't
position. It's
care.
rare.
It is rare for an 18-year-old goaltender not only to make your team, but to also be a first-round draft pick. Haven't been too many other guys that have done that. Christian Del Bianco started, I think, in a third goaltender role with the Calgary Roughnecks back when he was drafted. Telling you, man, this Caleb Kahn is going to be legit. He's going to start as the backup, I would think, in Las Vegas. That's Landon Kells' job now. But he's going to get pushed by Caleb Kahn. I have no doubt about that in my mind. And this isn't your average 18-year-old. Like he's just not. Like he has played senior A lacrosse since his second year in junior, and it's not too much for him. Like I've seen a big enough sample size now where it's not going to be too much for him. So I don't think they're just going to throw him into the fire. That process will happen slowly, but he's done job number one. He made the team out of camp, and Justin Getty did not. Who did get picked up in Halifax, and you've seen Halifax's final roster. Is Justin Getty listed on that?
I have it right in front of me, and Getty is. Yeah, Getty, Hill, and Hutchinson are their three goalies. Ashton Brown is on the practice roster, so Getty is
So they're carrying three on the active?
They're carrying three on the active.
Yeah, that won't last. You can't afford to do that.
No, it probably won't. I'm not sure who the backup is, either Getty or Hutchison, but who knows? We'll see what happens there.
It'll be Hutchison. I feel like he is going to be the starter by the midway mark of the season.
Hutch? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
I don't even feel like that's a hot take. Like I feel like by midway mark of the season, I think it's going to be Hutchison's goal.
Yeah, it very well could be. Was there anything else on rosters that you've seen so far that are shocking you aside from, Ryan Benesh in Buffalo, 4 goalies there, 3 in Halifax? Anything else kind of jump out at you there, Jumbo?
No, not yet. I mean, Calgary kind of was pretty predictable. Caleb Mander, maybe a one guy I was a little surprised to see not get there, but we'll just kind of have to wait until I see who's on a practice roster and who's not, like who's outright released. It's a little difficult to kind of decipher on who's actually going to be available. And I would still expect a few guys to move around, like for somebody that didn't make it to get maybe an opportunity on a practice roster somewhere else. And then on top of that, you still have some pretty notable free agents still sitting out there, like Mitch Wild.
Yeah.
Kevin Crowley. Some teams I think are going to kind of let things play out to start the season, and then I think you're going to see maybe a couple of these older veterans, John Lintz, maybe another guy that you see picked up later in the year after they've had a little more time to get healthy, make them play a shorter season, These aren't cheap tickets either with these guys being at Vet Max, I'm sure. So maybe wait a little bit, see what guys can do early in the regular season. And then, if you need to go kind of supplement your roster or plug a hole or whatever, that these veteran guys are going to be able to step in for you. So we'll just have to wait and see until all the transactions are completely finalized. Teams know. We just don't know yet.
From practice rosters and final rosters, Jake, we head to the Goalie Factory. Is that our next stop?
It is. We will head for the factory now, in fact, for our Goalie Factory Goalie of the Week.
Big save, Chiliano. Rebound call, Crime Stoppers. Vince just scored a goalie goal. Jameson somehow comes up with the stop. Larceny.
And here's Shane Jackson off the bench. And there's Christian Del Bianco with a stick side save.
Goalie Factory Goalie of the Week, brought to you by the Goalie Factory. And I know the content team there at the Goalie Factory is going to be putting out a video for we'll go back. I don't know. We may have to go back for a save of the week during the National Lacrosse League or a goalie of the week. I don't know. I think we'll let the folks at maybe the Goalie Factory decide that, and we'll roll with whatever they want to do. But both options are going to be good. Point being, they'll be cranking out some content, a little collab with Lax Class as far as the goalie or save of the week coming up. But in the meantime, head over to @GoalieFactory_. Get signed up, hit their link bio there, and it'll take you right to their sign up page. Or you can get your coaching online as well on the Zoom call. We're on the Zoom right now, Lucas, and you can do this with the Goalie Factory as well and get your coaching that way. But they're still working there in Langley, covered box out there in the township. Marcus and Caleb Kahn, Riley, they're all getting it done. Riley heavily involved with the women's ALL as well. I'm sure they got some female goalies at the factory as well. @GoalieFactory_ is where you want to go. Wherever the social media platform may be, they will be there. And you can get all your information to get in touch with those folks at the factory. Get factory built at Goalie Factory. This week's Goalie Factory Goalie of the Week, Lucas, I figured, since I was watching the game and said, I happened to comment, I don't know, multiple times, I want to say, is Nathan Whittam started the second half after Dylan Ward got the start for Ratto. You called them Ratto, by the way, so don't do that anymore. That weirded me out a little bit. Nobody calls them Ratto. Got the start for Colorado. Then Nathan Whittam came in the second half. And I want to say he held Vancouver goalless in the third quarter. And it's not like Vancouver was resting any bodies. They had power play opportunities. They had some great looks, some posts. But Whittam, I was pretty impressed with this kid. And I know that's Dylan's goal. Pat Coyle told us as much right here on the show. It's Dylan's goal. And they're going to go as far as Dylan Ward takes them. But it looked to me like now there may be a succession plan in Colorado after Dylan Ward. Because for a long time, you remember, it was Tyler Carlson, who's the ultimate kind of backup team guy goalie, but he was older than Dylan. And it was like, well, what's the future here in Denver? Well, I think we see the future now, and it's Nathan Whittam.
It is. Whittam had another strong season in junior this past year in summer. We also can't forget Caleb Martin, but Whittam is definitely the future of it. They let Martin go today. There's my answer right there.
Yeah.
Mammoth fans, it's Whittam. He's there. He's proven to be their number two. He's good. He's solid. Obviously, he's young, so he's going to absorb a lot of knowledge from Ward and what he has to offer. And
they play a very
kind of the same way,
style.
Jake.
I mean, they're out at the top of their arc. They're cutting down their angles. They play a very high arc right off that goal line. And you can tell that Whittam has learned a lot about playing goal from Ward in his time there already.
Yeah, he definitely has. It's great to see so many young players, whether you're a goaltender or, a face-off guy or a young forward, learn from all the vets. I mean, I know it's cliche to say, Jake, but that's just what they got to do. They got to be a sponge. They got to be somebody that just absorbs everything that they're hearing, that they're listening, and then they have to apply it. And the fact that Whittam has done that very quickly in a short amount of time this year in camp, and he did it all throughout the summer, it's good to see that what Wardo is telling him, and, Pat Coy and the rest of the coaching staff and everybody, but that he's actually applying it. Because it's step one to listen to it and absorb it. Step two is applying it. And Nate Whittam has done a great job of that, and he's earned the backup role down there in the Loud House as a member of the Mammoth.
He has also earned this week's Goalie Factory Goalie of the Welcome to the Factory. Wait up. You were this week's Goalie Factory Goalie of the Week, which brings quarter number 1 to a close, which means quarter number 2 is next, which means Hall of Famer Shawn Williams joins us next. Stay classified.
This is John Donville, and you're listening to Lax Class.
Welcome back. Quarter 2 is underway, and quarter 2 is brought to you by Edge Dynamics. Been chatting it up with Ashley Rootlinger over there at Edge Dynamics over the last couple of days. Something in the works here, Lucas. I'm not going to break any news right here, right today, but stay tuned here to Lax Class because things are happening over there at Edge Dynamics. They are passionate about growing your brand. You can sharpen it on a global level if you visit edgedynamics.ca, or you can visit their social media at Edge Dynamics Digital. They understand that every brand has its own distinct story and potential, and their mission is to help you unlock that potential by crafting marketing strategies that resonate with your target audience and drive measurable results. Like I said, sharpen your brand on a global level over there at Edge Dynamics. As we welcome back the head coach and general manager, NLL Hall of Famer, 51, Shawn Williams, back on Lax Class. Willie, great to see you. I know I feel like I've been harassing you, trying to get you on the program here. You've been a busy guy with women's sixes and training camp and all these things going on.
Yes,
glad you finally made time here on the pod. Welcome back, and how are you?
Yeah, thanks for having me again. And yeah, great. We just got back from San Diego, Camp 4. And
spicy affair down there.
It was a little spicy. Yeah. I think, everybody's still trying to find their way and make a team and all that kind of good stuff. But no, it was a nice gritty game and a good way to finish camp. That's for sure.
What was the final? I didn't even see the final score.
Yeah, it was like 10-9 overtime.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good.
All right. Well, man, week 4, we're here. I know Vegas got a couple bye weeks to start the season, which probably isn't the ideal way to go, but it is what it is. But let's spin it back here a little bit because, I feel like since the last time we talked, a lot of things have happened down there in Las Vegas. And, man, we should probably start with the coaching staff. You got 2 new guys on your bench and 2 well-known names that I know a lot of lacrosse people will know and should rightly respect, of course, and Curtis Hodgson and Brett Hickey. Tell me, the thought process on getting to a point where maybe it was time to have a bit of a new voice on the bench, and then how you came to land on these 2 guys.
Yeah, obviously after, you get through the grind of another season and, unfortunately we didn't quite finish the way we thought we were going to as we started the season. And you just kind of you have to evaluate and reassess everything in front of you. It was obviously a tough decision. 2 of my great friends on the bench with me last couple of years, but, it was time for just a different approach, different look, different voice, as you mentioned. And we got very fortunate to be able to land Brett Hickey to start, and then followed by Curtis Hodgson. Like you mentioned, obviously their careers on the floor speak for themselves, but they've done a lot of coaching in the last bunch of years, whether it's through juniors and with Hickey getting on the bench last year in Ottawa, and thought he did a great job there. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to kind of know how that process works, though, right? Like, obviously, guys find out, okay, maybe there's a job opening here, and I want to put my name in. Do guys reach out to you, or do you kind of have a list in your mind, like maybe this guy's a good candidate? How many guys did you kind of talk to before you settled on Haji and Hickster?
Yeah, I would say a bit of both. Like, you start with a list, and then as teams kind of get through June and what they're going to do, and you just kind of maybe add to your list or check some guys off that list. But a bit of both. Some guys reached out to me. I reached out to a few, and I would say a good handful on both ends of the floor that I talked to. But just my initial conversations with both our new coaches, you could just tell there was something there, and I had a really good feeling about where we were going to go. And then obviously got to land them, which was awesome, and they've been fantastic from the get go. And obviously it was a quick turnaround with the CBA situation and not having a team for a couple months, or on paper anyway, and then just getting thrown to the wolves going into Camp 1. And I thought they've both been excellent in in their attention to detail and with everything. And you can see it, even through game one against Oshawa in our first scrimmage in week two. It was definitely different in a good way for sure.
Two new coordinators weren't the only people you acquired there, Willie. You also picked up some big names in free agency, Chase Frazier, Chris Cloutier, and Mitch Jones. The three big ones I'll say are the ones that most
I
NLL
put Tony
fans
Malcolm
know
on
of.
that list as well there.
And Tony Malcolm, yes, of course. So, we'll start with those four names, Shawn. How,
Yeah.
How'd you land on those four? And, the rest of free agency, how was that season for you?
Yeah, it was
just to preface this, Willie, and sorry to cut you off, but I
no.
want people to understand, there was a sweepstakes for these guys. There was a bidding war for these guys, and they all decided on Las Vegas. And I'm more or less talking about Kluch, Fraser, and Jones. These guys had the pick of the litter here, and they land on Vegas, and that's something that you haven't really been able to accomplish the first couple of years. What do you think the difference was this year?
Yeah, I think, it's just, I think it was a lot of it was to do with the youth and how we were growing them. Took some time to really kind of, build our culture and start building some of our young guys to show the rest where we actually are headed and want to be. I just, and how well we treat our guys here, just with everything and the hospitality that, Cody and our lacrosse ops staff just deliver each weekend. It's awesome. And, there's lots of exciting stuff happening locally with, lacrosse being sanctioned. And so there's just, opportunities to live there and become part of the community, which was huge. And, and again, just kind of, selling the dream of, the dream we have and where we want to go with this. And, we are very fortunate enough to, to not just get one of them, but to get three of them. And, they've come in and with open minds and open hearts. And, that was the biggest thing too, how three great guys they are. And, obviously their lacrosse skill is huge, but just, how they are in the dressing room and with all of our players and, and staff, it's been great.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept as we speak with Shawn Williams here. We've seen some expansion teams take the big swing right out of the gate and go after these high profile free agents and kind of go after an older group and try and win immediately. And I think Vegas has kind of taken the opposite approach of building that foundation the first couple of 3 years, get a nice crop of young talent in there, and then start to supplement that roster with some older veteran guys. And I think you're in for a fantastic year here, Shawn. And I think one move that, and Vegas, the fan base there is a quirky bunch. They're a passionate bunch, but sometimes I don't think they really understand the full picture or see the picture down the road a little bit, if you know what I mean. They see these moves and they're like, what are we doing? But they don't realize, well, this is why they're doing it, because this is going to happen in a year from now or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
I think the latest one is Justin Getty. A lot of people see Justin Getty get released, and not that I don't like Justin or think he's a great goalie, but there's a plan in place here, and that plan is Caleb Kahn. And,
sure.
we talked about him off the top, Shawn. This kid is 18 years old, but he's not your typical 18-year-old goalie.
No,
he has made your roster and made you make some tough decisions, but there he is. Number 50 is going to play for the Dogs this year.
Yeah, no, it's obviously we were very, very fortunate to land him in the draft, and he's come in and obviously just he just brings a different mentality and work ethic to his approach. And it's hard to believe that he is only 18 years old, but we knew going in that we were going to have to make some tough decisions, and we did everything we could with all of our goalies, and just everyone had a fresh start, and just kind of it's just the way things fell. We're going to miss Getty, but he was great for us and great in the locker room. But yeah, at this time of the year, there's lots of hard decisions that are made, and unfortunately, but he got picked up right away, and see if he lands there. And I wish nothing but the best for him, but we're moving on and moving forward. That's for sure.
One guy I want to ask you about, Willie, is number 91 in Jackson Webster. He had a great summer up in Owen Sound. Probably, I wouldn't say fell under the radar a little bit, but people didn't have him going
MVP,
league MVP.
wasn't he?
Yeah. He was league MVP, but I'm not sure everybody had him pegged at league MVP, but he took that success in the summertime, and, he's taken it into training camps. What have you seen out of Webster?
Yeah, exactly that, and obviously now with him and Potsy being the young guys on that left side and playing with two veterans like that, it's been awesome to watch them get even better, and they will get better just by playing and being around those guys. It's definitely been fun to watch. We haven't put up a ton of goals, but you could see it's going to come. There's been lots of fantastic chances, and that's one thing we're getting is a lot more good chances. That's all you can ask for, and at some point all that chemistry will just it'll click.
Donnie looking a little step quicker this year, Shawnee. I watching
Yep.
some clip tape on him. He looks like he's got a bit of a quicker first step to me.
Yeah, no, he's really kind of honed in, and it's got out of some injuries that he was nagging him, and he's really focused on his fitness, and he's come in, he hasn't missed a beat, man, that's for sure. It's he's been great and showing a lot of leadership, and
Yeah.
yeah, he's great to be around, that's for sure.
I want to ask you, a lot of we were talking about off the top as well, how teams are kind of rolling out their social media posts of the roster. A little misleading sometimes when teams just put their 21 active out there and don't let you know who's on the practice squad here. We just see the transactions of you releasing guys, but I'm sure there's a little more to it there than that. So can you kind of let us behind the curtain here? I see Sellers is on the holdout list. I don't know if that's a long-term thing, but the guys that you did let go in Bouquet, Pilcher, Sonnen, Blake,
Yeah, so
those are your practice roster guys?
yeah, that's what we're hoping for. Just with the new CBA, there's a 24-hour period now that they're free agents essentially for another day. So
Okay, that's this is
that's
new to
that's
me.
why you see that. Yeah, that's
Okay,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a very tricky, kind of first steps for all the teams kind of going through this process, and you just kind of hoping and praying that you get the guys that you want.
Well, so that they don't have to accept the practice roster spot, right? You're
Right, and
saying
that's always been there. Yeah.
yeah, but they're free. So in that respect, are players from other teams that are in this situation, like the guys I just listed off, are they calling you saying, "Hey, I just got released. I'm free. Like, if you want to take a swing, here I am"? Or
Uh,
are you looking at a list yourself going, "Do we want to give that guy a call in the next 24 hours?"
yeah, we've been looking at the list. I'm sure every GM and coaching staff has been looking at lists and just to see, if there's something that kind of you fancy, and yeah, it's been ongoing, and it's kind of that wait and see game for sure.
The NLL expanding to Vegas, Shawn, and you touched on it briefly of lacrosse being sanctioned now in Nevada. But what is the growth of lacrosse, whether it's been field, box, sixes, whatever the case may be? What has it been like down there in Vegas and the rest of Nevada? With the dogs coming there, and like I said, now that it's become sanctioned in the state.
Yeah, well, honestly, I just hope that now it's sanctioned, that it's just gonna continue to blossom, and just more opportunities for kids to play. And then obviously we have a big kind of plan to help that along. We've done a lot of clinics and camps, etc. And then now we're trying to get into the junior dog program and get that running, getting some of our guys coaching local high schools. It's interesting that I don't know the exact numbers. I think Vegas area has around 1,300 players with women's and men's lacrosse, but it's up in Reno, about 7 hours north of Vegas. They got a really huge lacrosse program, so
Really?
plan on doing some stuff up there. They've been great. We've done a couple things in the past couple of years up there. They have a really huge kind of lacrosse
The
population.
Tahoe right there, Willie, to
Yep.
skip off to the lake right
Absolutely.
after.
Absolutely. That's a plan.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, but no, it's exciting, and obviously, I think the biggest thing is just with sixes going to the Olympics. I think it's just going to help all states and hopefully provinces in Canada to help it grow.
Well, I want to ask you about sixes. I'm going to do that next. But how many guys you got in market living in Vegas this year?
Yeah, we're hoping. I think right now we're at about around 9, and with guys,
Wow.
there's some guys that are figuring out their kind of work situation, but we could have up to 12, which would be amazing for us this year.
Massive, man, massive. Well, since we mentioned sixes, let's talk about this here for a sec, because you're coaching the women's, but women's essentially pretty similar to men's, if not like maybe there are a couple of different rules like helmets and stuff like that, but. Where you come out on this, Shawn? I know you're going to endorse sixes. Do you want to see maybe a few tweaks to the game to kind of make it a bit better or viewer friendly? I don't know where I'm going with this, but I want to like it. I know I need to like it. I'm just not sure I quite like it yet.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough. I think, when you see those top level countries playing, it's some pretty lacrosse, that's for sure. I've enjoyed every moment I've been a part of this program. It's I tell you what, when you're on the sideline, man, it's faster than box. Like it's you kind of don't breathe. Some of those big games, I look at my other coach and Katie Ranger, and like, have you took a breath yet? Like it was like it's
Yeah.
wild.
Well, how does I mean coaching? We're still seeing the kind of the development in real time as far as strategies and
Yeah,
techniques and changes and offensive motion and all these things like are happening in front of us. And like some people are going to be better at it than others. You're going to start to steal things from each other.
for sure.
When you're coaching this, like how much input or strategy are you having in that offense or line changes or things like this, and how are you developing those strategies?
Yeah, honestly, the hard part is just getting most of that out during camps and some practice sessions because once that whistle blows, it's fast and furious. So it's just kind of having some basic kind of sets to go with, and then having just your principles. Like the game's so fast, you just got to rely on those principles that you implement and then hope that they live up to them the
So it's
best
a
they
lot of
can.
bench management, essentially, right? You're kind of keeping control of what's going on in the bench, and then out of timeouts, like maybe a couple
For
set
sure.
plays and stuff. Otherwise, it's freestyling out there.
Yeah, for the most part, I think again, you implement some definitely have some basic sets that you want to, some motion stuff and on offense and but again, yeah, there's a lot of free, just take what they give you is the best way I can describe it is what we're trying to teach them. And you could see more of obviously with the men's game and more of the box experience that the guys have that you can see a little bit more of that, but some of those U.S. Canada women's games we've been a part of have been awesome lacrosse.
Looking at the schedule right now, Shawn, obviously, you agreed with Jake's statement and probably not the way you want to start the season with a couple of bye weeks. But, in terms of matchups, when you have your home games, what are your likes, dislikes, or, just give me your general thoughts of your schedule for this 25-26 season.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to you get the schedule and it's like you're going to play everyone anyway and everyone's good, so it's like to try to look ahead and try to start either counting wins or however you want to look at it. I honestly we just try to look at week by week, and right now we're just focused on getting healthy out of camp and having this 1 week off of just lots of rest, and we're going to get together on our second bye week and get through a lot of stuff that sometimes you can't during camp because it's so hectic. And so hopefully that just a nice kind of relaxed, a good hour of just kind of getting the legs going, and then lots more teaching to just establish all of our core principles and values. Just being together, I think it's really been great. Like I said earlier, with us establishing such a great culture to begin with, and then adding all these new players in, it's been seamless, and it's been actually really really fun to watch them how well they've gelled together, especially off the floor. It's awesome to see. Yeah, so 2 weeks off, not ideal, but again, we get to really rest and recoup and try to hit the ground running come week 3 against Vancouver, and then we're on. That's the only part of the schedule where you're playing over Christmas and New Year's, and that's always tough for everybody. But both teams are in the same situation, and you just gotta hope for the best there.
Like or dislike, Shawn, that you don't see San Diego till final week of the regular season on back-to-back nights?
Yeah, honestly, I think I kind of like it. It's obviously, it's been somewhat of a rivalry, being built here, and obviously they've been the better team in the standings, but we've had a lot of great games with them, and so it's going to be it'll be a fun way to finish up the season. And, hopefully it's really meaningful for both teams. And
I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna
great
be, Sean.
lacrosse.
I mean, those last two could really decide whether you're in or you're
Absolutely.
out for.
Yeah, I don't want to get too far ahead of us, but that would be great.
Who jumped off the page at your training camp? Like who was the guy that really kind of stood out for you?
Yeah, obviously just man, just our offense as a whole seemed to be, I wouldn't say clicking in
Clicking.
the games, but definitely in practice you could see it's going to be there. So as a whole, it's been great. And obviously, Jones, Klutz, and Fraser are
Yeah.
they're obviously, stellar careers, and two of them lots of championships, but just adding them with our youth it's been fun to see. And our defense with bringing in a guy like Laffy and Tony Malcolm, just to help that right side there has been awesome. Kersey looks
Now, there's a
great.
guy that kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit. Like people forget John LaFontaine
And
is
yeah,
in camp here.
such a great leader, and man, he still has his wheels left in him. And obviously our relationships go way back to Whippy Daisy. Actually, I had him coaching a couple of Dyson's teams back when they're like Pee Wee, way back when I played with Johnny on the Redmond. And yeah, it was awesome to get him. And then Stokes, he's looked great for
Yeah.
us. Really,
Orangeville flavor in there. Got to have a
yeah.
little bit of that.
No,
there, yeah.
absolutely.
Not
And,
too much though, Willie, but you do have to have a little Orangeville.
no, man. And it's, one guy that's really taken a step this year is Josh Jackson.
Yeah.
He ended up getting in a fight with Burkhoff there in San Diego.
Is that who that was? I was wondering.
Yeah, he did well.
Didn't have a name on his jersey there, but man, yeah, I didn't know Double J had that in him right there.
Yeah, no, it was definitely great to see.
All right, man. Say hi to Tam. Say hi to the gang down there in Vegas, and we'll see you in Vancouver for week 3.
Absolutely.
Warriors and Desert Dogs, man. Looking forward
Well,
to it.
you will, Jake. I'll see Shawn this Friday, but that's a whole other conversation.
That's right. I'll be there.
All right, Willie. Thanks for doing this, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There you go. Head coach, general manager of the Las Vegas Desert Dogs, year 4 now, and Dogs looking to make a move in the National Lacrosse League this season. We'll come back, and on the other side, the man that they'll play in week 3, Curt Malawsky, joins us in quarter 3 here on Lacrosse Classified.
Associated Labels and Packaging, a fun family company that offers premium quality labels and packaging with unparalleled service. With 40 years of experience, an extensive product catalog, and an ever-growing fleet of equipment, Associated Labels and Packaging is the perfect fit to take your labels and packaging to the next level.
This is Ryan Smith, and you're listening to Lax Class.
Welcome back to Lax Class. Halftime is over as we're into the third quarter of action here on Lax Class 366, which is brought to you by Associated Labels and Packaging. AssociatedLP.com is where you want to go if you need a label or you need a package. They offer premium quality labels and packaging with unparalleled service, over 45 years of experience in the industry, an extensive product catalog, an ever-growing fleet of equipment. Associated Labels and Packaging is the perfect fit to take your labels or packages, or both, to the next level. This guy looking to take his team to the next level. It's the head coach and general manager of the Vancouver Warriors, Curt Malawsky, back on the podcast. Mouser, welcome back. How's it going?
Good, Jake. Thanks for having me. Hey, Lucas.
Thanks for doing it, man. I know it's been a busy time for you getting the roster whittled down here in the last 24 hours or so. We're going to talk to you about that. But the very first question I wanted to ask you this time around here, Curt, is Christian Del Bianco going to start on Saturday?
Jake, that's a pretty good bet. Yes.
Are you sure you don't want to put O'Toole in there to the first half and then see how he does, and then maybe put Christian in, let it get comfortable, and then?
No, I think Delbs we're gonna run with Delbs to start.
I can't even contain myself, fellas. Well done.
Man, I've been waiting for that for about 6 months to throw that one at you there, Curt.
Awesome.
We're still laughing about that one. I posted that audio up in our chat just the other day of Lucas asking you that question a year ago or whenever it was that you made the trade, and
yeah.
I said to him, I'm like, that's an all-time moment on the podcast right there. But just listen to yourself and how far you've come since then. So that one brought me back. I had to get that in there.
Right on.
Okay. Exhibition is now over. Roster is set here, Curt. Now, we just got off the line here with Willie. I was a little bit confused leading in to the interview because a lot of teams are just posting up their 21 active rosters. They're not posting up guys that are on the IR or the PUP list or the practice roster. And I didn't know this, but part of the new CBA is that guys that don't make the active roster have a 24-hour window of being a free agent still. So I imagine you have an idea of who your practice roster guys will be or want to be. Am I correct in saying that?
That is correct. Yeah, you're right, Jake.
Okay, so in that time, I'm looking at this roster here a little bit, and I have a pretty good idea who I think your practice roster guys will be. But I'm still looking at this right-hand side here, Curt. And yes, Keegan Ball, Curtis Dixon, Ryan Sheridan, I like. But there's no fourth guy there, really, that, God forbid, one of these guys go down with an injury or have to miss a game here or there. There's a spot that I think needs to be filled. Are you keeping a space open for maybe a guy that might come available?
Yeah, not really keeping a space open, but yeah, you need right-handed depth. But for us, we had six guys, prior to Riley heading off to Calgary, and him and I had to have a great conversation, and it was in his best interest for him to go play there, which I love Rod, but I still got five of them. And I'm not going to go release a guy or trade a guy at lesser value just for that instance to try to free something up. And Mac moved down to California, and it just made a lot of sense for him to be able to.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that, Curt. So Dylan McIntosh moved to California, and that was part of the reason for the deal.
Yeah, sometimes in this league you want to do the right thing for the guy, and I had at the time I had five guys on the left side, and I had Mac there, and I wasn't 100% sure how we were going to do some things. Would I want to keep him as depth? Yeah, but I think for him, he wasn't going to accept the practice roster, rightfully so. And then it's just like, sometimes it's better for guys. He's right there in Denver, and we had a really good chat, and, it doesn't mean that he's forever there. Maybe down the road, he comes back home, but just because he wasn't living in the Valley anymore out in Ridge, we made that deal prior to some things. So my plan is to run with the three guys. And if we lose a significant piece on the right side, we stocked up the draft picks for potentially a trade deadline thing, maybe, depending on where we're sitting in the standings. And then, just for in case someone gets hurt, you got some draft equity that you could try to go out and get someone. There's a few guys that are kicking around that we have our eye on if that was to happen. But, it takes a trickle down effect. If I carry another right, then I lose a left. And then, if I carry a right and I keep the left, then I lose another good D guy. So there's a lot that goes into it.
You mentioned Ryan Sheridan, Curt, and he seems to be looking good coming back from injury. So provide us with an update on that. How is he looking these days?
Sherry's looking really good. He's big, physical. Sometimes there's big men that don't play physical. He does play physical. He creates space for the other guys. He's not afraid to get to the net. He's got a mean streak. I've been told he can fight. And I know he was on the floor in the Mann Cup game when the five guys wanted to go on the floor and stir it up. And he volunteered to go out there. So, I like that about him. He hasn't played, for a full year, and he's itching to get back, and he's healthy. And we're excited to see what he can do this year with the other two guys.
Well, with that being said, Curt, I think like I saw in your post-game interview, you mentioned the offense is kind of the last thing to kind of come together. And although all these guys kind of know each other and have probably played against each other, some have played with each other on different teams, until you get that whole group together, working together, that's going to take some time. And I think in particular, those three guys in Ball, Dixon, and Sheridan really kind of still need to figure each other out a little bit.
Yeah, 100%, Jake. You got it where sometimes, it's not an issue for us that guys are being selfish. It's just that they're being unselfish. Sometimes they're passing up looks they should take, and maybe they're swinging the ball the extra two times where we can actually just settle into a quick two-man game and take it there rather than just keep spinning the ball because they don't want to be from a selfish standpoint. So that'll all work itself out. But years with me when I was in Calgary, we had a very, very good offense, and it just takes time. Guys come from, I've said it many times on your program, that guys come from different centers when they play in the WLA or the major series back east. And it just takes a bit to adapt, and we're still going through that. I wasn't big on our training camp. We had a lot of injuries and didn't have everybody on the floor, so it could take a couple weeks to start the season even more for us.
Well, talk about training camp in those games right there, Curt. You had two of them out at the Langley Event Center. You had San Diego and you had Colorado not too long ago. So talk about those games, what you liked, what you didn't like, and maybe what surprised you from the team.
What I liked is we got better from the San Diego game to the Colorado game. The San Diego game, they just pounded us and they beat us all over the floor. And that wasn't an indication of who we are, but it is an indication of where we're at, I thought. And then the next game against Colorado, we had a lot better compete. We did some of the little things. Guys are still kind of worried a little bit. They're trying to make the team. And then there's other offensive guys that have been in the league for 13, 14 years that really don't want to get hurt. So I'm not saying that the guys didn't give everything they got. They made good business decisions on the floor. So I don't take anything away from Colorado. They played very well. Their goaltending was the difference in that game. And, they got a physical defense, and we're going to have our hands full on Saturday. It's going to be a battle. So, I like the fact we got better. I didn't like the fact that we were undisciplined in the first game in minor penalties at key situations. And I still don't like the fact that we turned the ball over. We got a plan for face-offs, and we got to kind of move through those as we get going along in the next couple games here. But aside from what I really liked is it just time on the floor. Like, finally, after all training camp, there was a point where I was running with 20 guys. I'm not here to make excuses and anyone feel sorry for us or trying to set the table for anything going forward. I'm not. I'm just giving you the truth. So it was nice for us. We didn't get baller in the first game. We finally got our full team. Well, we thought we had our full team going into the last one, and then we picked up a couple nagging injuries in the last practice, and with Martel, going into it. So we haven't had our full team. So again, we're just going to have to muscle through like every other team in the league. It's going to pick up injuries here and there. We just have to play with what we have.
One of those guys, and I made note of it, Curt. It was pretty apparent and evident to me that Alex Stathakis wasn't in the lineup. Not that you guys really struggled as a whole in the faceoff dot, but you didn't excel or exceed expectations, I would say, and he was a notable absence. And I know he's on the pup list right now. Do you have a timeline on when we could see Big Stath back in the lineup?
Yeah, he, to be transparent, Chug was bugging me about that. He's like, Mouse, just tell Jake what's going on. I said, Jake calls me. Maybe I will tell him. Maybe I won't tell him. But we're chuckling.
I don't like to abuse that privilege, Curt.
I don't. Because you probably know I wouldn't say anything anyway. But since you asked me, I'll be as honest as I can. He had surgery on his knee, a minor surgery, not a season ender, anything like that. So it's just right now he's going to be out for the first few weeks for sure. And then we're going to reevaluate him after week 8. I think that's in around Christmas time, somewhere in there. And then we'll see where he's progressing. So the projection is he will be back this year playing meaningful minutes and meaningful games. But we have to rely on the surgeons and his progress. But I find no Staff. He's already off the crutches. He's already been rehabbing hard, and his work ethic is impeccable. So I imagine he'll be back sooner than later. But for the first little bit, we're going to have good schemes and try to limit some of the possessions. And I think that was part of the last 2 games where the Colorado guy got a lot of them. But I think Baptiste just did it for fun. So we as a coaching staff and as a team have to come up with a better plan to try to limit those possessions and get in key possessions and keep moments of games.
I know the start of the season is right around the corner, Curt, but jump back to September for me if you can, to draft day. You had to wait until the second round before the Warriors made their first pick, but I think you got a great guy in Mick Kelly, and then towards the end of the round, you got Nathan Miller, both in round 2. Talk to me about those guys and what you like about them.
Yeah, you know what? Making that Bianco trade, we knew we could afford to give up a first round draft pick. Fortunately, all the free agents that we really went after, they wanted to come to Vancouver and they wanted to be here, and they probably had better offers, other places, honestly, but they wanted to be part of our group, which is, we feel very flattered and humbled by it. And, that gave us the ability to move that pick. And we knew that. And, Mick Kelly was someone we really coveted. And, we talked to Mick, and, Mick was there for the first week. And again, I'll be completely transparent. He's on our holdout list. After the first week, he got a really good job offer out in Baltimore, and he wasn't able to come to camp and the rest of camp and the travel. He was honest with me. He's like, Mouse, that's a pretty big travel day, and I didn't realize it. And so we're doing what we can to try to find Mick a place to play. And if not, he goes on our holdout list, and he understands that. So that's where Mick is. I think he can play in the National Lacrosse League, and I'm not saying that it won't be for us down the road. Maybe things change in his life and we revisit it, but he'll be on the holdout list. He signed a contract, so he's not on the draft list where he goes free after 2 years. He's on the holdout list. So again, I'll try to work with him and his family and try to make things happen the best I can. But that's where he's sitting. And then as far as Nathan Miller, we were super excited to get him. I watched him for 3 years in the Minto Cup runs, and I really loved what I seen in Coquitlam, and I got to see him in really meaningful games in the Minto Cups, in the games themselves, and loved them. And we were nervous because I know Patty, good friend of mine, they really liked him, liked him there. And, we were very fortunate that he slid to 31 in our mind. We contemplated taking him where we took Mick Kelly, but it all worked out for a reason. And, again, that's probably one of your guesses you could check off. I don't think we would have exposed him, but he's such a good kid. He understands that he's got that old school mentality. He's got to earn his stripes. He's played very well in the exhibition.
He's faster than I remember, Curt. He looked faster than I remember.
Yeah, we knew he was big and we knew he moved pretty well, but he got up and down the floor well. He played with some good grit. Patty's got a great system they run in junior and it's very similar to what they're running in Denver. It's very good. And he just has to adjust to our systems a little bit different. It took him a little bit, but he's there.
Yeah.
And he's committed to in for the long term. We got a lot of athletes on the right side that are a little older, but what a better way to learn from the Dilks, the Beers, the Mitskis of the world. It's awesome for him, for a young guy. And he's like, Mouse, I don't want to be anywhere else, which I appreciate. So, he'll be in our practice.
Head coach, general manager of the Vancouver Warriors in Curt Malawsky. And listen, you mentioned the free agents, and there's guys that aren't going to need to adjust to the system. They're going to know the system, and I think that's why he probably coveted a lot of these guys and probably why they wanted to come to Vancouver. I want you to maybe address Calgary Roughnecks fans here, Curt, because if I got to read Vancouver Roughnecks 2.0, this and that online, and then on top of that, watch your lovely bride, Gilda, just defend the Warriors in your honor time and time again with these people. I get it. They're upset. They lost a lot of their good players. Just talk to the Calgary fans here about it's going to be okay. Like you won a championship there, and now these guys are Vancouver Warriors. You can still cheer for them if you want there.
You know what? I loved my time in Calgary. I really did. And, I'll be truthful. I didn't want to leave. And it just the way things kind of worked out, it was an opportunity that kind of arose. We just didn't get things buttoned up before free agency for me personally. And, I guess, and I can't really speak for other guys other than the fact that, other than really Simpson, they all want to come home. It's like, Dixon, Callies and Kinger, they're all lower mainland guys. I don't know really how you could fault, Dix has got a young baby, like Hayes is running around, he's doing Halloween. And, we all know as family people, we miss a lot. Like I would never change a second in Calgary. Won a championship as a player, was fortunate enough to win one as a coach. I love that city. I love them. They got a great young team. They're just going to retool for the next 3 years and they're going to be completely fine. But please don't make it personal on the guys. Like they're making decisions for their families. No one's hating on anybody in Calgary. Like I said, we all those guys love it there. And it wasn't like they're just dying to get out of there. We give them an opportunity and there's other teams that gave them opportunities and, they earn the right to be free agents, unrestricted free agents, and they want to try something different. But Dix, Callies, all family people, they want to be close to home. They want to play in front of family and friends. And, Shimmer loves the group that we put together. And he's like, Mouse, I got one more year left in me that I'm going to travel and I love to be with the guys. And that's how it works.
Let's remember, he came from Philadelphia last year as well. He wasn't even a Roughneck last year.
He wasn't. And that's the thing. Like for me, it's really like we're professional sports, but there's a big element. I just talked about Mick Kelly. I talked about Mac. We're trying to make things that work for your family. Like, it's just, so I don't, enough with the
just
hating.
Get Jill a chamomile tea and just get.
I try, Jake. I try, and I got there's some fights that I win in my house. And that's not one of them. You know what? I married an Italian gal. Loyal is the day long.
Leave that stuff for Dawson. Leave that stuff for Dawson.
Well, Dawson can swing too. So we're we're pretty good, but we're just passionate. And you know what? We love both organizations and we wouldn't change it in the Malawsky household. And I bet you none of my guys that came over would have anything bad to say about them either.
Mouse, last year probably was step one in terms of the trajectory for the Warriors organization, making the playoffs. You then made it to round 2 and then unfortunately lost to Buffalo. What are kind of the next steps that the organization is hoping to take this year with you at the helm?
Get better every week, Lucas, to be honest with you. That's the way I look at it. And we play where our feet are. We don't scoreboard watch. I don't put big expectations on it. I'm sure the organization's got expectations on it, but for me, there's not a lot of value in saying we need to be better than we were last year as far as getting to a final, or we're trying to win a final, or, for us, we just want to just get better. I did not like our training camp. Our plan is to be better game 1, and then we want to be better game 2. And then we just kind of build from there. And that's really the secret sauce, really. And again, you got to stay healthy. You got to have a lot of luck. The ball's got to bounce the right way for you. And you just got to come together at the right time if you want to make a push in the playoffs, or get in first and then make a push deep into it, the playoffs. So everybody around me seems to tell me or us where we should be. And with all due respect, I really don't care what they say. I like what they do. I'm not crapping on any of that stuff, but I take zero value in any of the predictions and what anyone says about the Vancouver Warriors. We're just going to focus on who we are in our dressing room and what we have, and fix things as we need to go, and accelerate things that we need to do on and off the floor. So I appreciate it of all the everyone. That's kind of what everyone's job is to predict and to ask. But for us, I put no expectations on it. You could call BS on it if you want, but that's what it is. That's what it is.
Are we hiding the white jerseys until you actually bust them out on the road? Like, I've seen all these social media posts. The new blacks look great with the the all gold logo. I love it. I haven't seen the whites yet, Curt. Have you seen the whites? When are we going to see the whites?
You know what? I don't really follow too much of that stuff. I kind of look at them and say, yeah, I like them or whatnot. I've seen the whites once at the draft and they look sharp. Again, I'm not a jersey guy. I want to throw a shout out to my Paul Chardulo, my buddy there. Like, I'm not a guy that's going to analyze, oh, what a kit. That's a great jersey. Blah, 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 blah. You know what? To me,
yeah.
Well, that's what he calls it. I know it's a soccer thing, right?
I mean, that's the one and only Dulo shout out you get on this podcast.
That's it. Cut him off. You can actually, if you want, you can blank it out. Just blank it out. But you know what? I honestly, and all due respect, that we got great people that design our jerseys and do a lot of our paraphernalia stuff, and I trust them completely. So yeah, it's not by. I don't think it's by design that they're not letting anyone see it. So, above me, Jake.
You good, Lucas?
Yeah, I think I am. I'm also trying to not bite my tongue and say something that's going to get either one of you looking at me sideways or that I got 6 heads. So I'll just leave it at Curt. It's always great to talk to you, man. I'm sure Jake's got a couple more questions for you, but best of luck when you get underway this Saturday night against the Mammoth.
Love a man that learns from his mistakes, Lucas. Attaboy.
Yeah, that's it. So just to confirm, Christian Del Bianco will start this Saturday at Rogers Arena. Curt Malawsky will be there. Hey, listen, me and Charlie are probably going to hit you up at some point this week to have a little coach's call before the game as well. So look forward to that, my friend. And we'll look forward to seeing you Saturday night in Vancouver for week number 1. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks so much for having me on, guys. Appreciate it. Keep up the great work, and I mean that. Thank you.
There you go. Curt Malawsky, head coach, general manager of the Vancouver Warriors. And, man, I just sewered you bad right there. Just drove the bus over you, backed up, drove over again a couple of times. That's a hard lesson right there, Largy. Hard lesson. That was a great chat with Curt and with Willie previous to that, but still more podcasts to come here on Lax Class 366. Off to the fourth quarter we go. Lax Class lock of the week is next, and then it's time for Who You Got.
Hey, this is Zach Courier. You're listening to Lax Class.
Quarter 4 is underway, which means no more breaks here on the podcast. Thanks for hanging with us. Jake Elliott, Lucas Harger. Big thanks to Curt Malawsky and Shawn Williams. And quarter number 4, Lucas, before we get into the lock of the week, I would like to request that you follow the podcast on social media at Lax Class Podcast on the X. Still need to get those numbers up. Man, the algorithm on the X for the Lax Class account is just bullshit. I don't know how to change it. I don't know if there is a way to change it, but I think if more box lacrosse listeners and fans and players and coaches and stuff follow, that'll change the algorithm. So give Lax Class Podcast a follow on the X. Lacrosse Classified on Instagram. We got a Facebook page, email address as well. You can find Lucas Arger at Larger Sports. You can find me at PXP for Sports. DMs are always open. You can even comment on the Spotify posting as well. Get a lot of comments coming on the Spotify account as well, which, it's always nice to see that people are interacting that way as well, except for that Flex Sexman. You're blocked, Sexman, so you can't comment anymore. But that's the only guy or girl. I'm assuming it's a male for Flex Sexman. Anyways, don't forget to share the podcast, review, subscribe, do all the stuff, and we would appreciate it so much if you did all that so we can grow this classroom of lacrosse fans even bigger. Now, let's do it. Lax Class Lock of the Week.
Lock of the week. Hey, let's lock and load it. Woo! Yeah!
I am going to be a very rich dude.
Ooh, it's a big lock, all right.
Lax Class Lock of the Week, presented by Coolbet Canada. Coolbet.com is where you want to go. You want to use the bonus code Lax Class and get free money from Coolbet. They will match your first-time deposit up to $200. Take advantage of the full $200. You put in $200, you're getting $200, and just in time, I might add, for NLL season beginning on Friday. This is the perfect time to sign up to Coolbet, get your bonus code money, and then on top of that, Lucas, every $10 you spend after you take advantage of the bonus code here. Not the Lax Class bonus, but another bonus. If you just go to their promotions page and go onto the sports tab, you're going to see the contest, a trip to the NLL Unbox game in Edmonton in January up for grabs. And this is really simple. For every $10 that you spend, you're going to get yourself a raffle ticket. You have to gamble it on the NLL, just to be clear on this. But every $10 you spend gambling on the National Lacrosse League, whether it be 10 $1 tickets, if you spend $50 on a ticket, you get 5 entries. You can spread this out however you want. But for every $10 you spend, you get an entry into winning a wicked prize pack here, courtesy of Coolbet. So take advantage of that as well. The odds are up for week number 1. Lucas, we've put a parlay together. Well, I put the parlay together. But I'm going to let you tell the classmates what that parlay is.
4 games on week 1 of the NLL schedule to kick it off.
Pick it up here a little bit, Archer. Week 1, baby. 4 games. Let's go.
Boy, I'm excited for this. 4 games on the docket. Friday night, NLL on TSN. Rock in Oshawa. We're going to take the Firewolves at plus 1.5. Saturday night, the San Diego Seals make their one and only trip to the Canadian capital up in Ottawa, taking on those feisty Black Bears. We're going to take Ottawa at plus 1.5 as well. So that's Firewolves and Black Bears at plus 1.5. Little buffer. Buffalo Bandits are also playing on week 1, Jake. They're taking on the Georgia Swarm.
Each goalie is going to play 1 quarter for Steve Dietrich in week 1. All 4 of them are going to see 1 quarter of action. I'm sure of it.
I wonder what the odds are on that. But Buffalo, Lax Class listeners, if you're unfamiliar with how the lock works, it's pretty simple. If Buffalo is playing, Jake always takes Buffalo in some capacity. So we're taking the Bandits money line at minus 189. So it's minus money if Buffalo loses, but they're at home, so that's probably going to happen week 1. And then the nightcap. Jake Elliott and Brad Challoner on the call for this one. Vancouver Warriors hosting the Colorado Mammoth. From Rogers Arena, Warriors are at home, so we're taking the Warriors on the money line as well at minus 164. So just to recap, Firewolves, Black Bears, plus 1.5, Bandits, and Warriors on the money line. Week 1 of the National Lacrosse League schedule. 4 games in action. You can find all of this at Coolbet NLL. Hit the exclusives tab, if I'm not mistaken, Jake, or is it just on their main page?
No, you can do that exclusives tab, or even if you just type in Lacrosse Classified in the search bar, the exclusive parlay of Coolbet will show up. What'd you say? Plus 625 this coming in?
I didn't say that, but you're close. 650. Sorry, no 665. I got that wrong twice. 665.
All right, you're getting even better right there.
665.
Little 4-legger in week number 1.
It's going to be fun.
Buffers, Firewolves, Black Bears, plus 1.5. Bandits, Warriors, straight up on the money line. We go 4 for 4 on this one, plus 665. What are you getting back here? I should have done the math here before. 665. Here we go. You put down 153 jumbo bucks coming back on your Coolbet return right there on a $20 bet.
Ooh, that's a great return.
That's the way you want to start week number 1 right there. Good luck, everybody. Do me a favor. Stay cool and bet responsibly this NLL season. Play within your means here. Don't get carried away in week number 1. But put it all down here on this week's lesson. Let's start off with a bang for week 1 of the National Lacrosse League right there. There you go. There's your Lax Class lock of the week. We are not done here on the podcast. We're almost done, but we're not done. The fun is about to begin here. It's time for Who You Got. It's time once again to play your favorite podcast game. Who you got? Oh, I almost threw my back out there. Who are you?
Who. Is the audio better this week when I'm singing?
You just got to cut that second who off there. It's just who. And that's it. There's no who. I do the who part. Anyways, we'll work on that. We did Who You Got, brought to you by Coolbet as well, and Mohawk Lacrosse, by the way. Grand prize, handcrafted hickory wooden lacrosse stick. Coming in hot. You might get the black one. You might get the hickory red one. You might get the traditional wood. I don't know what they're going to do this year. Stay tuned for that. Prize Packs Weekly, that is, courtesy of Coolbet. And, of course, I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but the winner of each week will be required to give me their best Who You Got to add to the weekly soundbite each week. So by the end of the National Lacrosse League season, 21, 22 different Who You Gots in there will sound super fun. And we'll just keep adding to that as we go. Hopefully you're signed up. If you're not, I've been warning you, reminding you for weeks to get signed up to Who You Got. You can find the link to the pool in our bios, either on Twitter or Instagram. Take you directly to it, or you can just go to officepooljunkie.com and search up Who You Got with 2 T's, and then join the pool. If you were in it last year, it'll be super simple. You'll know where to go. But if you're new, just go to officepooljunkie.com, type in Who You Got with 2 T's, and you'll find the pool. It's a confidence pool. I'm going to explain this one more time here for the new listeners. You're going to see in week number 1, 4 games listed. You're going to have both teams there. You pick the team. So you're going to highlight the team that you think is going to win the game. And then that little drop-down tab beside that, pick weight, it says. You're going to see numbers going from 10 down to 7. It's always going to start at number 10 because one week we have 10 games. Not this week, but one week we do. So it'll always start with number 10. You're going to put the number 10 beside the game that you are most confident in predicting. So whatever that game is, that's the game that you want to put the 10 beside. The next game you're most confident in, number 9 goes there, and then 8, and then 7 here in week number 1. Then, after you've done that, you want to put in your tie. The tiebreaker is always for the final game of the week. So this week it is Colorado-Vancouver. It'll be the bottom game there. And then you want to put the total, predict anyways, the total amount of goals that will be scored in that game. Hit that drop-down tab, pick the number you think it'll be, then save and apply. You got to save and apply. If you don't, you're in some trouble. So do that. You can do that right up until opening face-off of the first game. And if you forget Friday for some reason, well, you still have the Saturday games, but take care of this now while you're listening to the show. Do not delay. Sign up, make your picks, do all of that. Lucas, we've been kicking around ideas for our personal bet. Gregoire and Schemenauer, absolute cowards, have chickened out. They don't want to take part in our internal bets, you chickens, scaredy cats, yellow bellies. So it's just me and you. And are we throwing Funky in this as well? I think we just go me and you, Lucas. Just head to head here. Who does better? Okay.
We'll see how this goes.
With that being said, we kind of looked at some like football fantasy punishments for last place in football fantasy pools. I am self-sacrificing here because I don't know how you do, but as far as like hot foods go, like I will start sweating just thinking about eating hot wings. So I can't imagine how bad it'll be if I do somehow crazily do not beat you this NLL season. If some miracle happens where you finish ahead of me and I got to do this, I'm in some trouble. But we will videotape or get somebody to videotape us downing 5 or 10 of whatever pub or bar or place of their most extreme, insane hot wings that they offer. So we'll get that on video. And then I think after that, maybe while the person is struggling in pain and dripping sweat, we'll make them do a tribute video acknowledging the winner's utter dominance as far as NLL pick'em knowledge goes.
Yeah, that sounds good. It's going to be even sweeter when you send me your video, but
we'll see about that.
It's going to happen, but hold on. What's going to be our tiebreaker? By some luck of the draw, if we end up with the same amount of points, tiebreaker is what? Or is the bet off?
Flip a coin.
Okay. Going to
Speaking
a
of
coin
flip a
flip.
coin, since we are tied in the standings right now, usually the person that does better the previous week will get to host. So pick second for who you got. But since we're starting here in week one, I got my trusty President's Cup coin from 2024 in Ladner. The Canadian flag will be heads. The President's Cup logo will be tails. You call it in the air on whether you go first or I go first. You ready?
Yep.
Call it.
Tails.
It is tails. Tails never fails. Do you want to go first or do you want to host?
I will host.
All right, take it away.
Week 1 of the NLL season is almost upon us, Lax Class listeners. We begin Friday. Friday night, NLL on TSN. Oshawa Firewolves playing their very first game in Oshawa Firewolves history in the Durham region, hosting the new and some would say improved Toronto Rock. Firewolves Rock. Jake, who you got?
Well, we are taking the Firewolves in the lock of the week. I actually think Toronto wins this game, but I think they win by 1. Hear that, Dalek? I'm taking the Toronto Rock, but it's my least confident game here, Lucas, so I'm going to put the 7 beside the Rock.
Okay. That's an interesting pick right there. I mean, either way, you can't lose, parlay or who you got. I will pick the home side. I'm going with the Firewolves.
I thought that would have been pretty funny if you would have picked Toronto going into your first.
Yeah, well, employed by Toronto last year, with Oshawa this year. Give me the Firewolves at an 8.
Okay.
Game 2, Saturday night. Ottawa Black Bears hosting the San Diego Seals. They only played each other one time last year, Jake. It was Ottawa winning 6-5 in a very low-scoring affair in San Diego. They now play each other week 1. Seals, Black Bears, who you got?
Ooh, by the way, you can hit there beside the game there. They have a little hyperlink for a matchup, and it won't mean much to you early in the season, but I think they're going to kind of keep stats, and it'll kind of give you a better breakdown of the two teams that are playing against each other, their upcoming schedule, all that sort of stuff. So don't be shy. Click on that matchup tab there to kind of help you along throughout the season as well. But this is just blind pick 'em sort of deal here because we really don't know. So in this situation here, give me the home team in the Ottawa Black Bears and give me an 8.
Ooh, I'm making the same pick. I think Black Bears will get it week 1. Not going to be, I think it's going to be a high scoring affair, actually. I think it's going to be minimum 10-10, 11-10, something like that, but going to be a high scoring affair. Half an hour later from Bandit Land.
Number you put an 8 beside the Oshawa Firewolves. You got to tell me that confident.
No, so you're right. I picked Oshawa for an 8, so Ottawa's my 9 pick. Ottawa for a 9.
All right.
The 3-time defending NLL champion Buffalo Bandits. They will be in action.
For a 10. Oh, I forgot. You got to say who you got first. Sorry.
Swarm at Bandit Land. Who you got?
Bandits for a 10.
Okay. I'm the same way. Buffalo at a 10. I think, unfortunately, Buffalo's just going to run Georgia out of the building. I don't want them to, but I just feel like that's going to happen.
Banner raising night. That's a tough start for Georgia in Buffalo.
That is, unfortunately. Nightcap. You saw these two teams play each other not too long ago. You'll see them again Saturday night. Your good buddy Brad Chalinar is going to be right beside you.
Kat Stefankowitz down between the benches.
Yes, that too. 2 friends in the booth and 2 friends kept coaching against each other. We just had Curt Malawsky on talking about his good buddy Pat Coyle. They're going up against each other. It's the Warriors hosting the Mammoth. Who you got?
Well, I think you know who I got here, Lucas. It was 9-8 Colorado in the preseason game, and I always feel like I need to preface this, week 1 here. Do not get offended if Lucas or myself don't pick your team in any particular week. It's nothing personal. Got to pick somebody. I'm not out here to hurt anybody's feelings or offend anybody or piss anybody off. Just got to make a pick here. We're having fun playing who you got. That's the bottom line. With that being said, it's Vancouver. Vancouver Warriors, and it's Warriors for 9.
I like it. I do. I only have one choice left, and that's a 7. But I'm still picking Vancouver. Warriors for a 7.
So we got 3 out of the 4 the same. I would expect a lot of people, we're going to have with a 4-game slate here, probably have a bunch of ties. So tiebreakers are paramount. And again, If you're not on Coolbet, here's another reason to get on there, is that you can go to the Coolbet, you can go to the NLL page, and you can look at week one's odds. And right there, for Colorado, Vancouver, you're going to see a total. An over-under total. These guys are pretty smart people. They're pretty close usually as far as the number goes. 21.5. To give you a contrast, Buffalo and Georgia are at 24. Okay, so Vancouver, Colorado at 21.5. We're talking Dylan Ward. We're talking Del Bianco. That's a pretty good gauge to go off as far as tiebreakers go. Don't forget to save and apply and tell your friends. Get the whole family signed up here before Friday and have some fun playing Who You Got with us this NLL season. Lucas, that was a long podcast. It was a good podcast, I think, though. Thanks to Shawn Williams and Curt Malawsky for stopping by. Thanks to our sponsors for sponsoring the podcast: Associated Labels and Packaging, RyCor Construction, Edge Dynamics, the Goalie Factory, Coolbet Canada, and Mohawk Lacrosse. These guys are the best. Help these guys out as well. We'll be back with episode 367 next week. We'll have games to break down. We'll have games to preview. I think we'll go back to one guest here starting the regular season. So look forward to all of that. RyCor Standout Players, Goalie Factory Goalie of the Week, another lock to come your way. It's all going to happen every single week right here on Lacrosse Classified. But this episode is now over. For Lucas Archer, I've been Jake Elliott, and for the fastest game on 2 feet, and for the creator, stay safe, stay healthy, stay classified, and enjoy the games, everybody.